And Prophet is on that deep flank with Smurf. They're so far behind enemy lines. And he's used the teleport to get there. They don't have it to get out, so you lose Prophet. And I tell you what, it would have been good if you're the Seoul Dynasty if you forced the Kitsune rush like in that area where you had that natural high ground. But once they don't have to use it and they've already made it around the corner, the home stretch, I mean, that is a perfect, just kind of straight narrow pathway to drop that big Kiriko ult.
Stalker having a much better round. Getting to those 8 final blows, 6 deaths. Pretty quiet to start with, but again, that second phase looked pretty good for him.
Yeah.
Probably frustrating for Seoul though, despite them starting pretty well in that middle part of the map. They've allowed the Shock to complete. Now that's a feat they have to themselves match.
It's still pretty decent defense there from Seoul Dynasty. Like, they gave up point A really fast. They tried to trace their look at the start. It wasn't great. They make a switch over to the Reaper, and it really started to pay off. Where, you know, the Shock had about 5 minutes here to cap that second checkpoint, and they dwindled it down to, you know, almost under a minute there.
Fitz is accounting for more than a third of his team's damage, which is a little
Only gonna
abnormal
stream
even for
for, like,
Sojourn players.
A little bit.
I mean, with these changes to Seoul, like, it doesn't seem like their DPS line is suffering too much.
No, and I think Reaper, there are so many DPS players in the league who can play Reaper at a, high to serviceable level. You may have felt like, hey, like, we don't need to spend Prophet, and his abilities on Reaper.
How's everyone
try and put him on
doing this
Kiriko,
morning?
where he can be more
Are we starting
game-changing,
shortly?
impactful, and you're not going to lose that much.
Didn't talk about it at the start of this, but this is one of Seoul's best maps. Undefeated on Paraiso. 5-0. They definitely don't want to leave a blemish in the other column here. So they approach, okay, so pretty uneventful beginning. San Francisco actually opt to give a lot of that high ground up, and they want to play for like a counter dive here on the point. Look how they split up.
Well, this is a sick angle for Proper to take on the high ground, right? Fitz has to swing this really wide to get an angle to try and make a play.
San Francisco hardly taking any damage. Smurf getting an absolute beating. He has to abscond pretty quickly.
Stalker is basically dead.
Still the threat of Fitz though, right? He's able to charge up and find a random pick from the high ground, and no one's really directly challenging, right? San Francisco don't have the ability to just go up there and force him away yet.
He's got to swing this corner blindly, and you don't have a great idea of where Proper is.
I feel like this is one of the toughest points, for me at least, in the matches that I've played. It's so open.
Proper threads the needle there. Now they're nicely a little bit scared. They're very low on personnel, and Smurf is leading out in front of him.
Yeah, Zendaya tries to make
I like defending this map as a Mercy, but definitely not
I feel
attacking.
like Proper a little bit angry, right? Finds himself in the loser bracket. He knows how good he's played all season long. Like, to see it not result in great team success, I think you'd be leaving here pretty unhappy, where I feel like he is staking it out on some of these teams. Just, he's been playing a fantastic Sojourn. Look at this.
Defensive Kitsune rush here. The Shock actually opt to drop off the high ground. Sound barrier coming out from both sides here. Smurf has lost most of it by now, but he's in that primal rage mode, and the Shock are backing up. They see Prophet use his own rush. Prophet trying to kick him in arm's length here, but gets Susie in his face. Smurf in front. Prophet from the backside lands a kunai. Now we're in a 5 versus 3. Stalker quickly heading upstairs to try and get this down. Losing Smurf, removing a little bit of flexibility, but the cap is underway. Strike has gone down. Violet hardly a threat here from that pocket. Eventually brought down by the enemy Lucio.
Yeah, and there's no way you fight that. You just have Violet and Finn alive. It's interesting, like, why take the fight early there if you're the Shock? You probably actually are in the best case scenario to do so, because if you allow and play that kind of deep position they did, I mean, there's such a better use out of rush, right? To come around the corner, you use the rush, like, what are you going to benefit from it? If you're the Shock, just try and catch them off guard, use it there. It would have looked great if they ended up winning that, right? You would have gotten both of the other team's support ults out right at the show. It would have definitely been awesome to see if you're a Shock fan, but look at this. I mean, a little bit aggressive there, and Violet gets taken out.
Crucial first kill for Fitz. The fight's not done though. San Francisco happen to throw themselves at this, but now without Proper, their odds of really drawing any blood here rapidly dwindling. And they're just here to stall for now.
Well, think about how the Shock were able to hold, get held by that high ground that Fitz was on. Now you see Fitz is actually able to get up right on top of that high ground, maybe deny it for a little bit. You see him Stalker through the X-ray. He's kind of like on that corner where that staircase is, if you wanted to come up. And then you also have Fitz able to look down that long corridor where You see everybody on the Shock has to come out there just kind of like scare them off, bully them off of that high ground.
Stalker lying in wait here. His job obviously probably to make sure Kaluj isn't able to regain that high ground for the defenders as easily. Fitz, here it is, Fitz! It's turning up! Finn is taken down again, it's a trade though. Proper's able to find him across the map. Stalker considering the death loss from here with a sound barrier though, it may not be necessary. Striker's gone down, Proper may still be a factor, and he is. Smurf is brought low. Now Stalker may need to commit here to make sure that his team gets out of this in one piece. Goes for the spin, Violet's there, Proper shuts him down though.
Yeah, Proper with yet another kill here as the payload is stopped moving for a quick second. He's actually just gonna like find a little bit of a different angle here. That's gonna be the Shock holding on. And what they're trying to do is like have Stalker in that low position, right? And when you see this bridge, if Smurf would have been able to jump up, get on top of the bridge, knock those players low, you would have had that death blossom from behind. But actually, Fitz ends up finding a kill right away, so you don't even need to invest that. Look at this, a rush right on through.
On the low ground, daring the Shock to come and challenge this. San Francisco are going to use a Kitsune rush of their own now. Proper forced to double back, give that protection Zuzi to his tank. And now Striker goes in a Wraith Walk. It might be time to go though. Sound barrier now for San Francisco when Stalker's out of the picture. It's just a matter of controlling Smurf's impact. And San Francisco can complete a hold for now. 90 seconds left in the round for Soul. They've been bundled now into the hallway. This is getting scarier and scarier for them. Fitz able to find Violet there, at least with the disruptor shot. He's trying to move this on his own. He's going to have to deal with Proper though. And he thinks better of taking the fight.
Yeah, there's no way. You have to back up. You lost your tank. No way to kind of hold ground on the point. So a minute, 10 seconds. It's looking pretty dire on the Seoul Dynasty side of things. You're not close to any of these ultimates, maybe even dying with like a last second beat here, but you're gonna have to rely on Fitz being able to find a pick at range.
Proper has come alive in the last couple of team fights, Matt, adding 6 final blows to his total. Very, very important that the Shock can keep him in a position to stay fighting fit. Striker looks to try and take the high ground, and this is a helipad, ladies and gentlemen. Vindime brought down, and that's another fight well and truly over already.
And it's
yep. Gotta limber up, ladies and gentlemen.
You done pissed him off. It's just really, I mean, it's terrible for Seoul Dynasty. You're not actually able to kind of get a back and forth fight there at the start, or maybe you can build up some ults.
Proper's going for it here. Look at the Shock actually forcing around this corner. Proper eventually realizes maybe exposing himself a little too much there. Vindime, no, not ready for that. Proper now is here to clean up. 3 players left for the Seoul Dynasty, and their hopes of getting a map completion rapidly dwindling. Smurf is too far away from Primal Rage to be a factor. Prophet doesn't even bother. San Francisco take Paraíso.
Perfectly played by the San Francisco Shock there. The rotation of ultimates, you know, Proper being able to save fights, constantly able to get these pickoffs. And Soul, I mean, they just did not look organized trying to make that attack happen on that high ground. It's honestly, it doesn't, Prophet's played pretty good on the Kiriko, but I think it's just more of a teamwork issue right now, if anything, from the Dynasty.
Operation Proper Go Kill is proceeding apace, Matthew. Very big impact on that defensive side for San Francisco. Proper gets the sightlines. He's able to turn them into a number of key kills. Seoul Dynasty now fight for survival. They have one more chance to stay alive here in the lower brackets of the Overwatch League 2022 playoffs.
So in a little bit, I'm gonna back a ball and then head out and start my day. I need to go back to the dispensary today.
The Nano at the ready for Crypto could give this Marble or Striker on the tack visor. He wants mini room control, but got zoned off by Foles, but he's gonna come back around. Full 360, Striker coming from the backline and the kids. 4K, he strikes again as Foles goes back to spawn.
Oh, the prodigal son of the Boston fans has returned home. Did you miss him, Boston? Happy might find themselves an angle here as they take a look. Sees Twilight, what in the world was that? Someone call E-Sick. There's no way Happy hits those. All
Oh my
those!
god! And okay, the Zarya's cool, but she got a lot of health. Okay?
Sheesh!
Are we gonna be in someone's YouTube video? Do I gotta shout out my mom? You're cracked.
Paddy a little bit scared of Finn. I would be too, to be fair. He's got a lot of utility. Nano available. Nano blade for Sam. He dashes straight to the backline. Insta-killing. Landon. Sparker dead. Backbone 2. There's Admiral. Another 5k. No! Proper steals it. Come on, man. Oh, you're supposed to give him the clip. Sam, though, still with 4 kills. Nice work.
Fjord's doing a great job of draining time off this objective, and Pelican gets caught in for a little bit too long. However, Merritt, as Attackvisor gets 2, looking for a little bit more. You're looking at Pelican, you're not looking at Merritt, he's got 3, and the Outlaws, that should be enough to take the point.
That should definitely be it. The good thing here for Fuel is that they built a lot of time on the clock. This is going to go down there, but Merritt getting a lot there, a lot of value, and this is just continuing to show as the fight breaks down, Soldier is so dangerous.
The Mayhem didn't really have a chance to respond there with ults of their own.
Nope. I take it back. Nero proved me wrong. Nero proved me wrong again.
Are you serious, Nero? That was a massive anti from Ultraviolet. Nanoed. Nero with the 5k. Okay, there's the smile that I wanted to see. Forget map number 1. Eichenwalde is yours. Oh my god. Oh, okay, so this is the anti-nade that set the entire thing up. Oh my god. What is more satisfying than that? I cannot name a single thing.
Doubts are put to the side. They said couldn't make this team good. Well, you're wrong. This team is now a championship team.
Because they will now have Vindane following up on those kills and pushed all the way back to the spawn room.
The hell was that? Prophet in the meantime starting to go off. Finds Butterfly and Sleep take on. They're looking for a little bit more though. He's trying to get the tracking down here on Izayaki. Eventually gets that elimination. Prophet is going off. He's finding damn near everything in the kill feed right now for the side of the Dynasty.
Smurf does have Primal though. Another time buy for sure, but it's Primal time for Smurf. That's exactly what you could ask for. And he gets another. And that's why you sub this man in. The Smurf show is real.
Don't miss the kickoff clash legendary team mix skins. The Seoul Dynasty Tiger skin is on sale now through November 15th for just 200 league tokens, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, of course. The altar of the Luchador skin in honor of the Seoul Dynasty's success this year.
Oh, I know my man GB loves his wrestling, so he loves this skin. It looks sick in the Seoul Dynasty colors. Like you mentioned during the series, Seoul Dynasty had not lost a Paraiso throughout the season. That is their first loss. It's also the Shock's first win.
You get why they pick it, right? Makes perfect sense. So now what?
Well, okay, so we do have a sub coming in here.
Hang on.
We got a little bit of a switch up. So, Iris in for Prophet. We have Prophet going back to DPS. So, for me, this is like, in the Seoul Dynasty coaching room, it is sirens. It's everybody.
DEFCON 1, bro.
Yeah, you got the buckets dumping the water off of the sinking ship a little bit. Because you come in, like you make this change, you lose the map, you haven't lost all season. Now you're like kind of scrambling, right? Like, hey, let's go back to how things were. You find yourself down 2-0. And a team like the Shock and a coach like Krusty, he knows and he sees stuff like this. You got a team like kind of dead in the water, so to speak. You got to close them out.
We looked this up before today. How much Reaper is Stalker playing?
Yeah.
None. This year, none. And even prior to that?
Hold on. If you've been playing Overwatch since Overwatch 1, you should be able to play Reaper. It's not like you're asking to come in here and play games
Why?
at the final moment.
But it definitely feels like
But people didn't play
this meta
those
game
cheap
is a little
characters.
uncomfortable for the Seoul Dynasty. I think just to try and make sure they have their best players in the most important roles. This
Sing
definitely
from
feels
a
like
former Tracer scene.
last-ditch effort for the Seoul Dynasty to keep their season alive.
I don't know, has Genji and Reaper been nerfed as much as Tracer has been? I feel like it hasn't.
It's interesting you make the switch though for me. Like, I feel like if you're going to make that switch with Prophet playing support, you need to commit to that.
Seoul have been able to choose their best hybrid and now their best escort maps. So after this, no more opportunities to select. If they win this one, they won't be picking anymore. They are 7-2 on Dorado so far this season, and have to hope that this is the anchor that keeps them afloat.
But you know, you look at some of those map records though, right? And it is a completely different meta with a new hero in front of an audience. I mean, it's not all the same, right? We kind of see how the Shock come in, they play under this pressure. They're able to win a map that they have not won throughout the season and make it look convincing. It's just a whole different ball game once you get here in person.
The Shock looks so green in the kickoff clash when we saw them, right? So green. But now they've come so far.
You do not want to miss that tomorrow. I know. Aaron teased it, talk a little bit on Twitter today. Oh,
New hero?
There's going to be some...
I'm bat-chesting out of my mind, brother.
What do you make of this?
The Tracer, so interesting. I mean, if you wanted to play Tracer at moments throughout this series, why even entertain? You know, not having, Prophet's like what? One of the best Tracers
still
of all time. Why not have him on that hero? But we know how much like damage dealers and the amount of damage output really kind of carry in the meta. It's really odd.
It didn't work for Seoul on Paraiso, right? They tried this with Stalker on Tracer. They get to play from this sort of high ground a little bit. Obviously, it can be quite oppressive trying to play attack into this constant Winston dive, providing Winston's kept alive. One pick can unravel this completely. Look at the speed boost already. Prophet not able to get to the high ground as he would have liked, so he's grounded for the time being. Smurf is able to go up and down and get healed. Prophet wants to try and shoo away Prophet. But finally gets picked off by Fitz early. So that's that high ground advantage now, actually manifesting. And Seoul find the first pick.
Well, I actually think, like, Fitz has had a really good series this far. Like, he's been able to actually find lots of pickoffs. And you see right there, it just puts a shot right in the fin as it just has not materialized in fight wins. But maybe now with Prophet back on DPS, pestering a little bit more, it'll be a big difference.
Just waiting for Prophet to pull the trigger here, maintaining that 100 charge. An insta-kill on Prophet if he's able to find the head, basically. Doesn't connect there, not how I would have liked to. Striker going down to disrupt the Shock. Seoul doing very, very well. Okay, they're bending but not breaking here. They're able to receive this dive and then jump in, and here's Prophet turning up on the Tracer.
So, you put one of the best players in Overwatch history, on arguably his best hero. And even if it's not exactly kind of the meta right now, Tracer still has niche picks and situations you can play her. I mean, you're bound to see good things. And I think if you just wanted more healing out of Iris, that's something you probably could have just discussed in terms of coaching. Pulse Bomb doesn't hit anything.
Prophet load here. No recall available, no blinks for the time being. He's able to get topped up though. Again, Seoul are able to push back and keep everyone standing. Fitz gets his slide cooldown. He backs away once more now. A lot of space being given, but again, Seoul not fully committing yet. They have Kitsune rush on line now though.
Here we go. Now they can commit. Both teams using the Rushman. Diane's going to get the beat first.
Prophet going a little bit low here, but he's able to find Fitz first. Prophet gets involved finally. Violent sound barrier's not up yet. He's going to use it straight away though. 4 plays still standing for San Francisco. They're giving as good as they get. And they have that card position. Where does Smurf go with this? Right now hoping to pressure Finn down, who can swift step away. Seoul again trying to regroup for the time being, but Iris under a lot of pressure. And Striker's able to run him down. Vindime again, always getting involved on the right side of the kill feed, but Striker's going to be a menace inside the building on the left-hand side.
They're going to play really safe. They're going to hide for a second because of this overclock. So this is going to allow some more players for Seoul Dynasty to make their way back towards the point. You're looking at Smurf and Iris potentially coming back.
He's on board for Prophet. Fitz has already gone down. No, can the Death Blossom make the difference? find any connection on that. The card's getting very close, and it looks like the Dynasty gonna have to give it up.
Yeah, it looked like they thought about maybe going in and fighting that, but why not?
I brought you a gift!
That doesn't hit. And maybe you actually see them swap here. Like, do you see them go towards that Reaper? Do you want to keep playing? Yeah, so it's going to be the Reaper swap. Is now you're going to have this massive high ground and you have to battle over. Make it really costly for Kaluj to get up there.
Striker getting a proper tickling there from Smurf as he will concede that high ground position he was trying to carve out. A lot of big ultimates online here for San Francisco. Kitsune Rush, the first of those. Kaluj trying to get in there as Sol disengage hastily. They're able to top Kaluj up there. He actually turns back himself. So that Kitsune Rush basically nullified here. Sol able to avoid it.
Yeah, but it's gotten a ton of progress here for the Shock, right? I mean, you give up that ultimate to just basically get the card in a one-fight territory. Primal Rage.
Okay, switch step used there by Iris. He's out of the fight for the time being. Kaluj takes a face full of damage and has to give up that high ground again. But it doesn't matter. The Shock are happy to push the card. They are daring the Dynasty to challenge them here. And Prophet couldn't get away. That's going to hurt. Switching back over to the Reaper. Comes out of Wraith Walk at low health and is just picked off San Francisco. They're on a roll.
And Prophet's playing by the cart, and he has to use the Wraith formula like backed up. And Iris and Vendime nowhere to be found in terms of like being able to give him healing. And as soon as they see him just wraithing away and there's no Kuriko or Lucio in sight, I mean, that is a free kill.
Sol only just now getting those key support ultimates back online. But they've already given up so much of the map. We're inside the Lumerico power plant now. And San Francisco, 3 minutes and 23 still to work with.
And if you're Sol, you just can't get desperate, right? You can't just like do a, drop a rush into Sound Barrier and just exchange it for Sound Barrier on the other side. I mean, that is a really nice pick to kind of swap sides of the map. But you can't afford to use double support ult here and then not, win a fight. It's going to be the rush here from Iris.
Vindam got a protection Suzu there. Kitsune Rush going to be used. Prophet charging on out. Kaluj now having to bubble up here. Surely they don't try and fight as Kaluj now jumps away. Smurf taken out. Hang about. Sol maybe overextend a bit here.
They're so split, man. It's the same way that we saw Prophet drop earlier. And look at this. You've used the rush. You've pushed in, and you've gotten absolutely nothing. You end up actually losing the fight. Double support ult on the other side. Death Blossom. I mean, not great.
Here it is, the rush on the high ground very quickly. The Dynasty recognize their cue to leave. So the Shock to stake their claim to this high ground now. Tough to retake this if you're Sol. You are running out of time.
This ends now.
Overclock from Fitz here. Trying to force Kaluj back away. He doesn't have enough time to get towards the Primal, and Fitz now takes pole position. And thumps Violet from across the map.
That's what I mean. I think Fitz is shot really well. Iris with 2.
Oh, yo, get that man off the bench.
In the beat is this next fight though is one that the Shock can win. They've held on to that Death Blossom. You got the Sound Barrier, right? Reaper can just kind of chunk through a lot of that, and you got your Primal Rage.
Well, that time bank has dwindled somewhat. Make no mistake. 1 minute 40 remaining for San Francisco, and there's Sound Barriers up for both sides. The real concern, of course, is Iris's ultimate and Prophet's in combination. The Shock have to attract this to some degree. Kaluj goes forward, hoping to force some form of action here. Sound Barrier strike was very, very low there, and Fitz actually gets taken down. Prophet's gonna have to go for it here. No Kitsune Rush in play. That was just a straight Death Blossom. It is able to get rid of Striker though. Both teams down to DPS, and Vindime's in a compromising position, but Smurf comes to the rescue. Kaluj eventually is able to find that kill, and now this Primal Rage is gonna get ugly. Oh no, it's a murder room. Finn can't get away. Violet suffers the same fate.
Actually, 2 sick Primal Rages there. I mean, Kaluj ends up getting both supports. Smurf, though, just insane Primal Rage tech. Even since base with the Shock, it'll just juggle players inside that small room. Ends up getting both supports with his team. So that's a huge fight win for the Sol Dynasty. Because like you mentioned, Mitch, they don't have to invest a Kitsune Rush. You can have that for this next fight. The payload's actually made its way back underneath this bridge. So this has been a really good defensive hold from the Sol Dynasty.
The Shock don't really have the tools to force their way out of the high ground now. Last time it was a Kitsune Rush. It's not available to them in this next fight. 24 seconds remain. Shock have to make the play. Disrupt the shot sent to the high ground. It doesn't do anything but furrow the brow of Iris mildly. Now he'll get back in position. It's got to be here. It's got to be now for San Francisco. They're trying to charge ultimates. There's just not enough time for that.
Proper gets really low.
Smurf getting forced back kick. Kitsune Rush now. It's go time for Soul. Gonna heal up Smurf for the most part, and Shock can't disengage. Kalush gets left out at sea here, and San Francisco have to make it work with just 4. It doesn't look good, but they have a Kitsune Rush. They're actually able to get the Kiriko ultimate online. Prophet though ready to try and strong arm Striker away from the car. The bubble thrown down by Smurf will give solace to the defenders. Fitz is all over it now, counting for both supports, and the Soul Dynasty find a foothold.
And the Shock were rolling there for a bit. You know, they come out with that Tracer defense against Soul. You know, it works for a little bit, but not for an extended period of time. They have to go to the Reaper eventually.
3:40 on the clock going into that last phase. That's a huge time back. I too am cheering for my favorite esports team.
Which is what?
Philadelphia Fusion.
Well, I got some bad news for you.
Wasn't a joke. Hey, tough crowd.
Hey, there's one. There's a Philly fan right there in the front row.
They are conspicuously absent, of course. Coming first and getting eliminated. Quite the accolade. I can say that. Yeah. I'm a fan.
Trying to capture a new window here, and it just messed up.
All right, let's have a look at some of those last moments here. Here's that Kitsune Rush that the Dynasty were holding on to.
And Kalush is in such a tough spot. Like, he gets picked off first here, but he needs to be the one that contests. And you're just trying to play for that rush, right? Which, you know, if you have the option, well, I mean, it's obviously not a great option to say, but you're going to have to probably give up one player on the team. And if you have the rush, you're better off giving up the Winston and the Reaper, right? With how effective the Reaper is with inside that rush. So, tough spot for Kalush to be in there, having a player on that corner.
San Francisco now know they've got quite the task ahead of them, trying to keep these increasingly hungry Tigers at bay. Again, they'll have to deal with this pesky low ground disadvantage as attackers here. Very quickly, they look to try and remediate that. Proper went upstairs. Kalush is forced to...
So I added my shopping cart for the day.
Both Winstons doing their job right, using their health pools as resources to gain some space. Fitz is hunting for that first big pick. He's found many of them.
Really slow here getting around this corner. Just kind of keeping that damage. Just trying to keep farming that damage. Make sure you have that 100% rail shot. Tries to land one, you know, right over the top there. I mean, that is such a tough angle.
Proper under pressure, slides back. He's done this many times before.
I broke it.
It's not a
Great.
true commitment there from Soul. Just testing, seeing what they can draw out of the defenders.
Trying to play for this high ground here. Maybe a little slower coming around.
Striker!
Oh, he gets blown up instantly. I don't think they expected that follow-up to be really, you know, tight around that corner. Maybe a little bit further. They're trying to make a play for some of the supports in the back, but they will just burn down Striker. Look at this Shock. They hightail. They know they can't contest that cart without the Reaper in play.
This is surgical from the Dynasty. Slow and steady, baiting mistakes out of San Francisco. And look at that. What a clean first point take. 5 minutes to play with.
Yeah, as Soul Dynasty is starting to gain some momentum. Praise the game with the lineup they run a majority of the time. You know, now like you kind of look back at those first two maps, like, hey, maybe was it an overreaction? As you know, I think one thing you are seeing though in terms of the stats is Zero's doing way more healing than the other days. That was one of the things you pointed out. Maybe you make that sub, but big double support ult for the Soul Dynasty here in this fight. Kalush tries to get to the high ground as Proper takes a chunk of damage.
He had to wait a couple seconds now. He'll walk up with that jump available. Kitsune Rush here from Finn. Sending his troops forward from the rear.
You can kite this if you're Soul, though.
Yeah, brief sojourn inside the courthouse of the Soul Dynasty. Now armed with the power of justice, they're ready to dish it out. Finn drops first after using that key ultimate out of the sound barrier for Soul just to make sure they can clean this up without too many casualties. Oh man, clean it is.
So yes, this is what I'm ordering for the day. That's not correct. There we go. What's that? Okay.
I don't want to say gifted you the first two maps, but you know, they really kind of didn't look at their best. Where now you started to see Soul Dynasty.
I don't know, a lot of strains that I haven't tried before.
Smurf be aggressive, you know, put pressure on Kalush, right? I think the one thing you talked talk about the Shock, it's like, are their tanks, the ones that can actually help lead them to victory? You put pressure on Kalush, you put pressure on Mikey. It's got to be Prophet kicking things off with the Death Blossom kill. But the way that Fitz is played, the Seoul Dynasty can find themselves back in this series.
This isn't all.
Dan's practicing private, I suppose, but Proper. Well, that's beautiful. That's 3 from Proper. And you're waiting for that to happen. He has the high ground.
It's so filthy, dude.
And he sat there probing, prodding, waiting for Smurf's Primal Rage to expire. Eventually, he's able to pop off.
I tell you though, I really like what I'm seeing out of the Seoul Dynasty. Even though you lose this fight, as the Death Blossom gets players a little bit weak, so where you come around the corner, you don't need to fully charge rail shots. But if you're the Seoul Dynasty, like, you gotta be feeling pretty confident. Like, hey, the fights that we're losing, it's because Proper's killing like 4 or 5 people. Like, I think you kind of gotta live and die by that.
There's actually 2 things missing from that list as well. I got
it's just a GG go again.
a vaporizer and a cartridge. But as for flower, that was all the flower that I bought. Looking forward to the pre-rolls.
5 minutes on the clock when this first started, and how far the Shock are pushed up.
Alright, all my coffee is gone, so I'm gonna go get ready for the day. I'll be right back though. I'll pack a bowl real quick and then I'll leave.
Toilet papering of their abode, if you will. Now here goes Kalush, here goes the Shock, and the Dynasty just explode. They ain't feeling too good, Mr. Stark.
And what's terrible here for Seoul Dynasty is like you had a large chunk of time. Payload. It's gonna drag them back a little bit, but are you gonna lose Smurf here, or is he gonna be able to make it out? It looks like, is he gonna get Primal? I mean, you almost have to use it. Yeah.
You're kidding me!
You have to.
Gets back to his team. Soul might be able to put something together here. Soundberry even used by San Francisco. Soul reciprocators, they probably have to if they want to have a chance of winning here. And Striker gets forced back from the front line. Here comes the Death Blossom. Can they escape it? That's a no. Proper fires back though. Kalush is here with the Primal Rage here, and Vendian pasted to the wall. Kalush making him look like a boy band poster on the wall.
Not a Winston player, by the way. Lets him know.
Alright, we are back.
I love Kalush, man. Like, just plays such a fire. You can see it on its face. Like, and that is actually a sick play by Smurf, right? To even give Seoul Dynasty the opportunity to make a play out of that. Now you're looking at the overclock, so both Sojourns could decide this.
Time is short, and Fitz is looking to make up for what was lost. Prophet is down already now, a 4 versus 4, and Fitz is looking for a good angle. Finn just won't stand still for long enough, though. They'll contest the card, sure. They need reinforcements, though. Prophet will be running to try and get back into the fray. Prop will be aware of that. We'll have to turn tail eventually. Here comes the overclock from Proper. Smurf, low, gonna get away. No! That's 2! The Dynasty now being brought down, and they have one more chance. One more chance to stay alive in the playoffs.
Prophet and Iris are still here within the realms of touching the cart. So, see which player
2 seconds.
ends up being.
1 second, okay. Prophet gets the touch. We have overtime. Fortuna rush here for Finn, he lets it go. The Shock race towards glory. Fitz can't get away, cornered. But there's 3 players on the card. Solar trying to sneak it over if they can. Striker comes up, he'll provide the contest. Prophet very low, Smurf! Prophet picks him out of the sky! How is Iris gonna survive this? Prophet trying to tickle it here with a Dynasty now. Their legacy, their Dynasty will have to wait. The San Francisco Shock repeat history once more, sending the Tigers home.
Just a really strong showing from the Shock. And I gotta say, although you
San Francisco won.
Proper, Kalush was fantastic on the Winston.
I don't know any of these teams though, so are these just specifically Overwatch teams, or do they do other games as well? Because I know usually esports teams, they usually do multiple games. I don't know. Maybe not all of them, obviously. But I would expect Overwatch to be one of those that they would be playing other games, like Valorant or something.
And I think for the Seoul Dynasty, like, you had a team to compete this year, right? You know, you got Smurf, you know, Prophet in fit so good throughout the season.
Anyways, I'm gonna go look at this ball, start my day, and then we'll probably be back later this afternoon to play some Overwatch or something else. Thank you for joining me this morning, for me waking up. Peace.